Hello, hello, my mammals. It is me, Declibsed.
If you didn't know, I love Sword Art Online. Okay, now shut the fuck up, mister. I copy my favorite YouTuber's opinion without question. Sword Art Online is my favorite franchise, excluding the games and other non-canon material. I mainly like the books and the anime, although SAO's anime adaptation is great in some areas, like art and music, but tends to shit the bed a bit when it comes to translating the nuances of the story being told and the arcs the characters go through. Pair that with a light novel that expects you to use your brain to understand the characters and the behavior, and you have an anime that is apparently easily misunderstood judging from the violent, brainless bullshit the average anime YouTuber spews about the show, if they aren't lying outright. All of this is a topic for another day. I myself started reading the light novels while Assassination was airing, because I wasn't really satisfied with the adaptation. And this is the most goated shit ever, holy fuck. Absolute cinema despite consisting of words and the occasional but beautiful abec drawing, or bun no clue which name is preferred. After Alicization concluded, I continued reading the light novels with its newest and still ongoing arc, Unital Ring, but I lost interest after the second volume, because the release schedule for the novels is pretty slow. Recently I started over again with the first volume, and now I've read up to Unital Ring 4. So, my question is, does Unital Ring hold up to the banger that was its predecessor? Very obvious major spoiler warning, by the way. Let's get down and dirty immediately. How is the story? Yeah, it's good. I was wondering how Reki plans to one-up himself this time, but I would say he managed to do so quite well. Unital Ring's idea of fusing all seed games into this mysterious survival world was really intriguing. The introduction with New Aincrad crashing down upon this unfamiliar land was executed very well. While editing the video, I realized that I haven't even talked about the mechanics of Unital Ring, so hello again. Unital Ring uses altered gameplay mechanics from every seed game that is fused into itself. The mechanics are altered in a way so that no one has a fair advantage. For example, fairies from ALO are unable to fly at all. I think that's a great way to incorporate the games into UR, and it paves the way for creative use of previous and new mechanics. Otherwise, Unital Ring is basically hardcore RL craft without the mod slop. And the setting of Unital Ring itself is also pretty good, but nothing amazing. It's sort of your average run-of-the-mill open-world survival game. Think Valheim or Minecraft, but photorealistic. You have your forests, your plains, desert biomes filled with ruins, monsters, and an occasional NPC camp. I think a more unique setting would have been better since it's very similar to Underworld's setting, even with a similar level of photorealism. This might very well be intentional to draw more parallels between Unital Ring and Underworld, but honestly, the photorealism theme would have been enough, I think. Speaking of Underworld, it makes multiple returns to the Unital Ring arc. Our protagonists enter Underworld multiple times for testing purposes and in order to investigate a break-in from an outside party. Honestly, I very much enjoy that. Finding out what has become of Underworld during those 230 years since War of Underworld and Mooncradle, along with the characters, is insanely interesting and entertaining. While reading, you feel the same hunger for information Kirito, Asuna, and Alice feel for this beloved world of theirs. The way the Underworldian civilization developed is logical, the machines they use and how they are powered fits in nicely with the way Underworld works. Revisiting Underworld is a great addition to the story, but this is also where the problems start. Unital Ring has more plotlines than the average tween party has cans of beer, and so far only a few have been sort of resolved, and the others still haven't really started to fit together 4 volumes in. There's just so much happening in the story. So I'll give you a quick rundown to visualize. And again, massive spoiler warning. So the ones that have been resolved are Asuna's birthday, the raids on Drisnarik, the Life Harvester fight, and Kirito's news of the Accursed. These are all plotlines that have been resolved. Unresolved are the Star King's Floodlight in Higa's possession, Kayaba's consciousness supposedly talking to Star King, the thing with the world supercomputers being taken over, the entire Seed Nexus being fused into Unital Ring, the land revealed by the Heavenly Light thing, Mutasina, her plans and how she can use that crazy magic, the intruder in Underworld, the general state of Underworld, Who the fuck is Aolin exactly, and why does he look like Yu-Gi-Oh? Kirito and Asuna's lost memories as Star King and Queen, Alice seeing Selka again. Why are people rebelling on Atmana? The new transfer student, Shiki Mikamura, and what her deal is. Also, a personal baseless theory of mine is that she's Mutasina. And a lot of smaller subplots like the Arabelle kid being unable to use sword skills, Strong Incarnation being a rarity in Underworld now, and Shino needing more bullets and gunpowder. I have likely forgotten something. Yeah, the first few points are more like an overarching plot thing, but still the arc lacks focus, which is only made more evident by its pacing. I do very much enjoy the slower pace the Unital Ring arc has had so far. I think it highlights Reki's strength as a writer and gives him more opportunities to flesh out the entire cast and their relationships. Unfortunately, the lack of focus and the numerous unresolved plotlines make the story feel all over the place, especially with Reki's writing style of fleshing out many details in his scenes, like in the scene in Unital Ring 3 where Kirito, Asuna and Alice explore a cave for some iron. The boss fight was unfortunately skipped over and only briefly explained. Something similar happened to the Life Harvester fight in Unital Ring 4, where the last moment of the fight was glossed over, which is a bit disappointing to me. Well, SAO is very much a character drama at its core, instead of an action series. I still hope that Reki doesn't do this again. With all this said, I still enjoy the story despite its pacing issues, and it will very much improve if Reki starts to connect all of the plot lines. The mysteries are very intriguing after all. In fact, things have started moving a lot in Unital Ring 4, including an insane fight scene, and I'm hopeful that we'll get to see the story come together in the following volumes. The characters and their writing are as great as always. I like that the side cast is far more involved this time around instead of being obscured from a greater plot. Even Argo finally makes a comeback. The cast feels tight-knit and it's always enjoyable seeing them interact with one another. Kirito's other flaws are being explored more and new ones introduced, like his tendency to solve everything with incarnation, which is steadily criticized by Alice. The new characters which are introduced like Mutasina and Aolin are very interesting, but you only see those two sparingly until the 4th volume. Mutasina to me is a really intriguing antagonist, especially with how Kirito sees and thinks about her. In theory, she's just another Unital Ring player who wants to beat the game, but her mannerisms and the length she goes to in order to beat UR seem too insane for some random person to just be role-playing. By all means, she should just be a normal player, though she seems to be anything but that in reality. Aolin also has our main cast scratching their heads. He looks like Yu-Gi-Oh, sounds like Yu-Gi-Oh, and behaves similarly to him. And Kirito wants to rip off his shirt. Aolin is the commander of the Integrity Pilots and the adoptive child of Bercoli's descendants. He is strangely casual with Kirito opposed to his manners towards Asuna and Alice. So there might be something more between those two than we currently know. I feel like he doesn't give much in terms of his personality. Kirito also mentions this impenetrable wall around his heart, so most of the time he is calm and composed. In any case, I hope we learn more about this guy. Unital Ring also makes the effort to canonize some of the characters outside of the light novels. I'm gonna reach a bit far into the UR light novels. In Unital Ring 7 you see my queen, Edith Synthesis 10 from the mobile game Unleashed Blading, being awakened from deep freeze. She obviously isn't the one from the game storyline, she has never met Alice or Kirito in the light novel canon. She isn't the only character being added to the novel canon. Fucking Mito from the SAO Progressive movies also has a cameo. She isn't the Mito from the SAO Progressive movies, but like Edith, an alternative version of the character. Also, she is actually in actuality. By the way, my only source for this is a Reddit post on the SAO subreddit. If everything in that post is correct, it's absolutely insane how Reki managed to tie her into the light novel canon. This shit isn't easy with the setup he was given. I still have my worries about bringing these characters into the light novels. My Queen Edith isn't so much a big deal since she's from a mobile gacha game which wasn't even that popular to my knowledge, and I don't think that more than a couple of thousand people even remember anything besides her backstory. Mito on the other hand is a bit problematic. Being a movie original character from Progressive, most people are bound to be confused when they see her in the novels or future anime, and neither her nor the other characters remember anything that has happened in the Progressive movies involving her. Like, not everyone knows about the whole SAO canon slop, and adding more and more of these characters which don't add much to the story or main cast will eventually make the already big cast of characters we have become very bloated. In general, I'm not totally against introducing these characters into a light novel canon. Unital Ring is just a wrong arc to do that in its current state, but I could easily be wrong with my assessment of Mito and Abeth's inclusion. We'll have to wait and see. This is also more or less my final verdict. We have to wait and see. Well, obviously it's not finished. I think we're moving towards the main part of the arc after Unital Ring 4. Reki has done a lot of setup work so far with the many mysteries and plotlines. Now it all comes down to how he can connect the dots in a satisfying way in the middle and end portions of Unital Ring. So far the arc has been enjoyable to me, not to a level I enjoyed Alicization, but it's not too far off. I honestly have great hopes for Unital Ring despite its current issues, and I will keep reading along even if it means that I have to wait a whole ass year for a new book to come out in English. Anyway, feel free to debate me in the comments, stay cool, and bye bye.